school dance. I was attracted to all kinds of boys, but none of them helped me discern who or what I was. I would have to do that for myself. I discovered that in order to continue on my journey, in order to keep living in this body, I would need to transition in one way or another. Most of the people in my life told me I was delusional, that I wasn't actually transgender, I wasn't manly enough. I didn't date women. I didn't fit any of the criteria that would have designated me a man. It took me 3 years to work up the nerve to see a doctor who could prescribe hormones legally. 3 years to begin the process of aligning my body to more accurately depict the person I knew myself to be. Once I started testosterone, my body began to slowly reconfigure itself into a new form, one that was slightly more muscular, slightly hairier, and with a slightly deeper voice, although none of those changes happened in the extremes I would have preferred. My ovulatory and menstrual processes were put on hold by the hormone shifts as well, and I even had to sign a legal form stating that I understood the fertility implications of testosterone. The paperwork inaccurately suggested that I may be rendered sterile by the hormonal transition process. It would be more than a decade before I would learn that my doctor had been misinformed about the actual impacts of testosterone on fertility. At the time, I was more than willing to sacrifice the possibility of future parenthood for the very real present reality of a more masculine appearance. Before meeting and falling in love with Biff at the end of my 20s, I worked my way through a cavalcade of disastrous romances. I had a lover who owned a series of gay bars throughout LA, and though he had slept with most of the go-go boys he employed, he decided that I had taken his virginity since I was the first, and only, person with a vagina he had ever slept with. I dated a man who, even after 6 months of dating, refused to call me his boyfriend and then ghosted me completely in the middle of a trip to New York. 1 week later, he was dating a different trans guy who was still in his teens. There was the dangerously handsome yet emotionally unstable graffiti artist who would skateboard to my apartment when he felt up to it, then disappear for weeks on end, re-emerging just long enough to hold my hand at a music festival, kiss me in front of strangers on the subway, then fade away once again. I wasn't fixated on finding a forever partner exactly. If you had asked me, I would have said I didn't have time for one. For work, I was a senior organizer at the National LGBTQ Task Force and was on the road 8 months out of the year, following the anti-gay movement around the country, embedding myself in communities under attack and teaching them how to talk to voters, raise money, and recruit volunteers. It was an advanced education in undoing bias, learning how to change people's minds, one conversation at a time. I amassed thousands of data points that eventually made me a bias-busting ninja of sorts, with talking points for any argument at the ready. Coming home to my empty Hollywood apartment after these trips, I would wonder when love was going to happen to me. Many perfectly nice boys came and went, but none of them stayed. Then, one clear spring morning, I left my apartment to go to brunch at the home of my friends, a sweet couple named CT and Benji. As I came around their corner, I was distracted by a gorgeous boy heading right toward me. "Hi," I said. He half waved. "Are you going to the thing? The CT and Benji's thing?" "Yeah, I'm Trystan." "Hi." He nodded politely. He had a nose ring and reddish-pink hair poking out from a black bandana. He was wearing tight faded jeans that looked like they would be soft to the touch. Tall black boots. Steady blue eyes that carried an alluring mix of confidence, a don't fuck with me vibe, and warmth. I suddenly found it hard to breathe. I tried to smile casually as I followed him into the courtyard and up the stairs of the yellow apartment building to brunch. It was immediately clear that the food part of brunch wasn't happening anytime soon. Someone had brought a whole coconut, and the guests were attempting to utilize a variety of scavenged tools to break it open. While others went to the porch to attempt a coconut hacksaw maneuver, I sidled up to the boy I'd met outside. I learned that his name was Biff, and that he ran a social group for gay, bi, trans, queer, and questioning men. He soon had an interested circle of listeners gathered around him, hanging on his every word. "I want to come to your group."